I gotta sit tall.
Sit tall.
I have my tie-dye thing on. No. I got this at the Emerald Exchange. Some really nice lady, she hand dyes all her own silk and stuff. So,
Really?
yeah, so instead of buying a lot of weed at Emerald Exchange, I bought her stuff instead. I thought, I'd much rather spread the love that way than get stuff I don't have time to smoke.
Everybody, we have Ophelia Chong in the house today. I'm going to get in and, we are broadcasting live right now on the Canna Academy Facebook page, and I'm going to share it within our Women Entrepreneurs in Cannabis group really quick. Let's see. Ophelia, how's the weather in Cali right now?
Hot as hell. It's about 110 degrees in some spots. It's hot. It's dry. My dogs are not happy. One dog, I have one big dog. He's about 100 pounds. He's right on top of the air vent.
Found a cool spot.
So then that spot, another part of his ass is cooled down that he moves back. I mean, if I had no dignity, I would do the same thing.
I know.
Yeah, it's hot here. And then you have Houston, which is underwater. And, I mean, if you don't believe in climate change, I don't know what the hell is happening. So, until next week. I don't know how a lot of people, I mean, it's great for if you're growing flower right now because they like hot. But, man, if you're out there harvesting, well, Northern California is okay. Down here, we're all indoor.
Oh, so. Well, and it's so funny because the temperature here in Michigan, I'm in West Michigan, the temperature dropped like this morning it was 48 degrees and everybody's like, oh, the plants love it. And I'm like, my feet are cold. It's not winter yet.
48 degrees? Oh my God.
I know.
I would, yeah. If we could split the difference between us, it'd be 70 degrees each. So, go ahead.
Oh, I know. And that's why I lived in the mountains of Colorado long because in Colorado up in the mountains it doesn't get any hotter than 75 degrees and that's perfect for me.
Right.
So Ophelia, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us for our Founder Friday. Every Friday I'd like to apologize that Kira is not with us today because she's actually preparing. She's getting married in a couple of weeks. Yeah, and she was sad that she could not to join us and talk with you, but I was so excited that when I found out that you were talking this week, and so here we are. So Ophelia, tell us a little bit about yourself and your company, StockPot Images.
Okay, so I'm a Canadian transplant. I got my American citizenship in 2000 so I could vote. My one vote didn't, so I pay taxes, so I vote. And only smoked a little weed in high school. It was so bad in Canada that you would have to pick out the seeds and stuff. That's what it was like. It's basically stink weed, I think. And so fast forward to Art Center College of Design, where I went to school here, got my BFA, became a photographer. I shot exclusively music. So I shot for Raygun for about 3 years, Interview, Bleach, Lava. Some of those magazines aren't around anymore. So during a grunge period. Then I segued into print and I ran movie campaigns. So I did about 40 films for about 5 years and then became a creative director for film festivals for about 10 years. Then went into publishing, became a creative director for books and photography. Then went freelance, blah, 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 did the web. Worked for evil companies like AIG, designed some of their websites. Don't go there. I felt really guilty about trying to fool poor people who could not read all the fine type. And actually, I remember there was about 25 attorney generals from each state that banned AIG, so we had to keep taking down websites. For false advertising. Anyhow, sort of went from that rogue industry, all those rebels and those people, into cannabis 2.5 years ago. I went into it because of a family issue. She was taking cannabis. I looked at her and I thought, that's what they call a stoner. And it helps upset me so much because, of course, as a family member, all of a sudden you're stereotyping them. And I walked over to my computer, because I have been in stock photography for a while, looked, and I realized when I got to Getty how they were using keywords. Keywords is what you search for an image. So if you brought a person smoking, it would say stoner, addict, illegal, convict. Just all these words, and you're thinking, this is $1 billion company, and they're using these words that are basically stereotyping you, stereotyping my family member into this criminal underworld. And also the images were pretty stereotypical too. It's your Rasta guy with a marijuana leaf, eyeglasses, all that. And so from that moment, I created StockPot images. Other people gave me suggestions for names for the company. One of them was weed porn, and I thought, no, right? Because what? Yeah, maybe it's weed porn, but why would you even want to associate the word porn and the word weed? So that kind of went out the door, and then I thought, well, it's stock and it's pot, and then StockPot. And the reason I chose that is because not right off the bat, it doesn't sound like cannabis. So that way we still can get under the wire, and until people figure it out, it's not quite in their face. It's more of a play on words. So StockPot was started 2.5 years ago with about 2,500 images on 4/20/15 and about 25, 30 photographers. Now we're almost over 20,000 images and over 200 photographers around the world. And this last March, we partnered with Adobe. And our other partners are Pixel Rights, which if you go to our site and you see an image, you cannot screen cap it. You can't even drag it off. It all of a sudden comes up with a copyright notice. And so that way we protect all my photographers. And also Pixel Rights, that's, and then SmartFrame, Haystack, which is a aggregator of stock images, and Image Protect, which scours the web for images being used without payment. So they go after people with an invoice. Because all our images, if someone licenses one of our images and then gives it to somebody else and we start seeing it, we can tell because it's all embedded, all the data in there. We then send them an invoice. Because it's only fair. I will buy, like say for instance, I buy 2 hamburgers, right? And one hamburger I'll eat, and the other hamburger I'll go put out and say I made it, right? I didn't, but I'm going to take the credit for it. So maybe that's not quite an analogy, but you know, it's lunchtime. So from there, what I would suggest, part of my talk today is how to make money in this business. Yes, StockPot is making money, but what's making me a lot of money right now is just like Jamie has. Jamie has created this huge Rolodex. You have this network, and how can you make it pay for you? So this company last year that I was working for, THC Design, I wasn't working for them. I was just really good friends with their founders. I would help them do things, help them network. We got Snoop Dogg to one of their parties, introduced them to Mary Jane. So from there, last February, they said, you're doing so much. We want you to work for us. And what do you want to do? It was just open-ended. It said, Ophelia, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I've always been an advocate. So I thought, okay, make me community liaison. And what does that mean? I get to create all these programs for the communities around us. And so for Skid Row, for women, I'll talk about these, autism, LGBTQ, and Skid Row, yes. So there's quite a few programs, because what I pitched to them was that we can give you a logo to a conference and I can give somebody $5,000. But what does that mean? And you and I know, Jamie, you walk into a conference, you see a logo, that's it, nothing. It just becomes graphic noise. Mm-hmm. So with the money, instead of throwing it out at conferences, I can create programs which cost less but go further. So, so THC, that's what I'm doing. I'm bringing in also collaborations with other businesses. I can't talk about them, but because we're signing them now, but other partnerships into THC. Plus, I'm bringing in politicians, because and all the other collectives. So that's what I do for them. And I get paid for doing something I really love because also, like you, we have a great Rolodex, right? And we have Facebook. So that's what I do in a nutshell.
Yeah, and I think it's important to learn how to monetize that Rolodex. You know,
yeah, it's great. And also on Facebook, as you know, if you put up a question, who knows blah, 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 or how do I get this? People, it's just so great because people will answer and say, I know this, I'll get you hooked up with that, or this. And when people say Facebook doesn't do anything for them, they're not doing it right. Because I have so many contacts through Facebook.
Same here.
It's better than Twitter. It's better than Instagram. It is one of the best networking tools I've ever used. LinkedIn. Oh,
yeah.
You know.
Well, and I think it's just like, don't you feel like people just don't know how to use it correctly? I mean, I think you and I, we figured it out. Mm-hmm. And there's kind of a secret, and I think that secret is producing content.
Yeah, a little entertainment, not so much. And also the other thing too is I love people's lives, but I don't. If you have to filter your own self. Mm-hmm. I'm eating lunch, or hey, going to the bathroom. So it's about entertainment. What
it is.
You really have to sit, is this good information? Is it entertaining? And then that's how you keep people coming back to your page. If you keep filling it up with turn and left at the light, you know, something like that. Sparingly post, that's what I can say.
Yeah, and I was doing a webinar before this broadcast, the last hour, and we were talking about the 80-20 rule, and it's 80% entertainment, 20% like selling or work.
Yeah.
You know, 80. So you really do is you want to, and the whole part of entertaining is we're getting to see you. Like right now, we're getting to see exactly who you are and your personality, and you know, when someone feels like they know that person, then they want to buy from them. They want to support them. Mm-hmm. You know, and so I think that's what, and you know, and guys, you that are joining us right now, this is Ophelia Chong with StockPot Images. Find her on Facebook. This woman is hilarious. You do a lot of videos. Yeah, and showcasing some of those amazing products that exist in this industry.
Oh yeah.
How do you get those opportunities?
I know. Well, I don't do too many videos, but one of my favorites is sitting in the bathtub and blowing up the life jacket with a puff on a joint, and then try and blow as much smoke as I can into the vest. I was so stoned after I blew that up, but it was really fun. And then or in the shower with someone else's products. It's scarcity is better than too much, right? Yeah. So if you want to do a video a day, unless it's really short and spot on, then do it. But if it's just more of the same, then people will tune out and not watch your stuff.
Yeah. Now, so when you started your business in the industry, did you just like full throttle, like, I'm in the cannabis industry, or did you kind of like ease yourself into it? And, you know, like what kind of advice would you offer someone in our audience who hasn't really come out yet with their new job?
That's a really great question, because unless you were a smoker way before and you know your strains and you know how to grow, I didn't know any of that. I didn't even know there was a male-female plant. It's just, well, I'm just going to do this. And so I bought a lot of books. I went online and read a lot, and I tried to meet a lot of women in the business, and they would add me to groups like women growers or small secret groups. So I would ghost them and see what they're doing, what they're talking about. And that's how I learned about growing and strains. And then another woman who was really amazing, she had a mason jar of seeds, and she said, Ophelia, you need to do this. And she just shook the jar into a big jar, a smaller jar, and said, go home and grow. And she said, there's males and females in here, so you're going to have to learn. And I grew a lot of plants that summer, and I learned everything from fertilizing, trimming, when things were ready to be harvested. So if you have no knowledge in this industry, I would grow, because that's our whole thing, is that one plant.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to learn about edibles or concentrates or strains. What you need to learn first is how that plant grows and what it does and all the stages. So I spent a whole summer growing plants and also reading. And I went to a lot of meetings too. Because I went to the first Women Grow meeting in February of 2015, completely brand new, didn't know what I was doing. People were handing out edibles. I barely got home. And again, that was a learning thing too. How many edibles can you take, and what is an edible? I remember, I had 2 pretzels, and I never did again. I barely got home. And then I was learning.
Yeah.
So I would grow a plant. That's how I would get into the business.
And that's how everyone, you learn so much when you're getting into this. And I think, like, you said you had attended events. Were there any resources that helped you, like, start your company? Like, what kind of mentorship did you have?
On the business side for stock photography, I had a lot of women mentors who grow on their own. Who have started stock photography agencies, large ones. Some of them have sold them for millions. And so they became my mentors. They were my friends at the beginning. And so they would walk me through all the business parts of it. Licensing, agreements. And I had to pick a company to build the back end. So I had to put cannabis aside for one point and then start all the business stuff. Just like what you teach, starting a small business, LLC, which one do I need? How much money? QuickBooks, which I hate, contracts, agreements, joining the right associations to help my business. So a lot of that was started even before I had the first photo in. And then back in 2015, I was also teaching photography students at Art Center College of Design, and I knew which ones were high. So I would go to them after class and say, look, I'm starting this agency. I know you have weed. You're a photographer. Sign on and shoot for me. So that's how I basically got some of my first photographers for that. And then the cannabis started learning, and I had to learn everything, the difference between crumble and shatter and wax and clear and nails. Good Lord, it's all the accessories you have to learn. What's that? That's a torch. What do you do with it? That's a pipe. And ripe flower. So it's really at the beginning, it's building the foundation of the business. We had nothing to do with cannabis. It was all building all the bits that you're supposed to have for any business. Bank accounts, LLC, trademark, getting attorneys, agreements, all that stuff, which is for people who are left-brained, left side. I'm not. I'm all right. So that was a slog going through. But it was worth it, because now it's all the foundations built, and now it's the fun stuff. Mm-hmm.
For you, and so what were the biggest challenges for starting your business then, and how did you overcome them?
Not finding photographers was easy. The challenge was marketing, because 2 years ago, 2 years doesn't sound long, but it is very long in our industry. Right?
Mm-hmm.
2.5 years ago, finding people to license my images. And also, Jamie, I've had this argument, conversation, intellectual property. The cannabis industry has been underground so long that they don't understand that you can't just take stuff anymore. And there have been a lot of companies, say Tincture Bell, that got dinged by Hershey's for basically ripping off all of Hershey's candy bars. And it was $25,000 per infraction. And they had to shred every piece of their inventory. I don't think they even exist anymore. But it was teaching the cannabis community that just because you find it in Google, it doesn't mean you can use it. So teaching them that to do things correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Like what we were talking about earlier, starting the business correctly, LLC, banking, all that stuff. They also have to learn all that too, but also what is intellectual property. And I've had some of even large companies too that would have to call, that remain unnamed, saying, look, you can't take that image. This is why. And he said, well, we found it on the web. And I said, I can go into your house and I'll find your wallet and I'll walk out with it. Does that make it right? I said, no. I said, well, it's the same thing. Someone created this and they should be paid for it. Just like you make your product, right? Your chocolate bar, your flour. You don't want someone just coming by and saying, I just found it on the counter. I don't really need to pay for it. The whole argument is teaching people what intellectual property is. And now that article that came out from Amanda about this company trying to patent all the brands, right? So now there's someone out there who's a little further ahead of everyone else and saying, okay, you don't own Blue Dream anymore. You got to pay me. Or you want that strain, you're going to have to buy my seeds, just like Monsanto. Intellectual property is going to hit our industry so hard that people are going to be doing head spins. And what I've been telling them in the last 2 years is just a very tiny part of it that is going to hit them even harder when other companies all of a sudden say, well, look, you can't even use that name. But I've been using it for 2 years. Well, did you trademark it? Where has it been? And so all this stuff is going to happen. And I see a lot of companies too that don't even do a name search. And so when they do want to be legit, they can't even use it.
Yeah.
So.
And I still see companies that come out that have very similar branding or names, I think that had to cross their mind. Like, should I do this?
Oh, no, let's just do it right now. And then when we deal with it, we deal with it. It's a head in the sand kind of thing. And that issue, because, like say there's a company, Abracadabra, no, Abba Dabba, Abracadabra, whatever. Abracadabra, yes. There's these two companies, exact same names, two different things, but they're both in the weed business, are fighting because I had it first. No, I had it first. No, you prove you had it first. And you would have to go back in social media to show any of that, right?
Yeah.
And also name your companies too close to another brand. Like you said, anything with Canna, it's Mad Libs. The word Canna is Mad Libs. It's Canna blank, right? It's a great word, but there are already a lot of it. Just like AAA plumbing, right? There's AAA plumbing, AAA roofing, AAA. So it doesn't make you any more distinct. You should come up with a really distinct name for whatever you do. And it doesn't have to even sound like weed. It's like, say, look at, Bloom, but Foria. It doesn't exactly sound like cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
Or Dixie, right? Dixie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look into it a little bit more, you kind of find that it is,
Yeah.
And it's important to set yourself apart. And so, what you've done is you found a need and you created a solution for that need. You found that need was, there aren't enough marijuana related photos.
Yeah.
And you created that solution.
Right.
And so what kind of advice do you have for someone who has this idea and how do they go for it? Especially coming from an industry you came from stock photography, and
lucky.
And there's so much knowledge coming from outside industries into our industry now.
Yeah, I think it. What happens is everything's been done, right? I got lucky because in stock photography, no one wanted to touch it yet, so I'm the first. I'm not going to be the last. They're going to have to catch up, but there's already chocolate companies, there's already cookie companies, there's concentrate. It's really what sets you apart. Who is your client, right? Who is your closest competitor? And what is your voice?
Mm-hmm.
What is that product? Is it a women's product? Is it for cross section of people? Is it for seniors? Who is that product for? And that's how you sell it. Plus, people keep saying you should brand it. Really, I think branding is just your personality. I bring a lot of my personality into StockPot. And also the branding is my voice, because I'm the only person really. I don't have anyone to ask, so it all sounds like me. But it basically, that's the whole point. It's all me. And same with you. With your business, it's your personality. People are, regardless what you call it, they're coming to you because of you. Mm-hmm. And really, I think if you want to get in this business, it's your personality, and also how you sell the product and who you're going to give it to. I say X-Lax. It's for people who can't poop. But then again, there's a lot of people who can't poop. So you make the box kind of generic, not too feminine. Actually, I think there's feminine X-Lax now too, for women who can't poop during their period. There's a one, but there's a blue box, which is generic, right? But then again, if you break down one product, say Coca-Cola, they have Coke Light, Coke Zero, I think, and Cherry Coke. So they have the same product, they're just starting a different flavor to hit all segments. Same thing with cannabis. You can have one cookie product, but then you can actually break it down into sub-markets: non-gluten, sugar-free, no peanut butter, right? Or tiny bites, grandma bites, things like that. Yeah. So it's trying to get your one product, but having that one product be able to be the umbrella, and everything else can build out underneath it.
And then how do you you said you had a couple of mentors that helped you build your business. Mm-hmm. How do you find a mentor?
I found people who were in the business that I wanted to get into, right? Just like you want to open a liquor store, you find someone who owns a liquor store, because then they have all that knowledge. I would take people out to lunch. I would get them gifts, and or I would pay them. So I went after all my friends who were women that were into business. If this is how do I set this up, and so they gave me a lot of advice, walked me through basically the first year. And so if you want to get into the cannabis business, find someone like yourself, and get mentored. But then again, don't take advantage of that mentorship. It's not. It could be free. The first taste is free, right? But appreciate your mentors. Just like I took them out for lunch, I took them out for dinner, I gave them gifts because they were helping me with their time, which they didn't have a lot of. So if you go into this business and you try and find a mentor, treat your mentor well, because then they'll always answer your questions. If they feel like you're just coming into the well and drinking it dry, you'll lose that mentor. So vice versa. Respect and value the people that help you.
Yes, I think that's great advice. And what do you think the cannabis industry is missing?
Ooh, less greed. Because I just had an event last weekend, and this is something I did for THC. We have a large event space. There's a lot of staff, so I can actually take advantage of what we have. And so I had over 33 women vendors, and each table was set up. They got the table, they got linens, chairs, everything. I had entertainment, food for the attendees. Plus I gave each of the vendors 2 free tickets. Mm-hmm. And so each woman-owned business could sell their own products for free. They didn't have to pay $200. They didn't have to pay $500. They didn't have to pay my expenses. They didn't have to do anything. Just all I had to do is roll up, set up their table. And yes, we could have done it easily because we own the space. But the thing is, it gave us back so much. All these women now know about THC and appreciate what we're doing. And we're doing another one on December 2nd. Again, the same format. It's all free, because what I want to do is help these people who they might have the $200 to $500, but why should they use it? I just want them to be in a safe space and to let them know that we're supportive.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of greed in our industry. Oh, here's the one that really pisses me off. Sorry. It was my idea first.
Oh, yeah.
That was my idea. I see you doing this thing now. That was my idea. Girl, no one invented breakfast. Right? and so there's some people are saying, that was my idea. You're doing that. And I'm thinking, no. People have been doing that for years, and you laying claim to it is not because you want credit. You want to own that space. And the thing is, though, so many people have become before you. They don't own that space either, but you got to respect them.
Mm-hmm.
You can say, instead of saying, I did that first, you did that so well, I'm just building on top of your amazing idea.
Yeah.
Right? And saying that makes you have friends.
Mm-hmm.
Saying, you are cheating me, you stole my idea, then people start seeing that and think, whoa, right? Step away.
Well, and an idea really means nothing unless there's action.
Yeah, and also, can I talk about another thing that bugs me?
Absolutely.
Women against women.
Yeah.
Okay. The space is huge, and we keep thinking the table is very small. The table is endless. We can all have a seat, whether it's going to be a large company or a small company. But don't pull down the woman next to you just so that you can get higher.
Yeah.
Instead, everyone just brings everybody up like this. And stop talking behind everyone's back, right? That kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It doesn't help you because people can hear, and it doesn't make you look that good, mm-hmm. right? You might think, okay, I'm finally here, I'm going to grab onto it, but somehow you got up there, right? And then you look back, there's all these bodies. One of these bodies is going to come back up and just pull you down.
Climb over you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because someone told me there's a Chinese proverb. It's a bucket of crabs, and all the crabs are trying to get out, but mm-hmm. another crab will probably grab the top crab and pull them down, and they keep trying to get out. So the crabs never get out because they keep pulling the one on top down. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we can't be crabs.
And that's the thing, is just the space is, like you said, it's so big. Mm-hmm. And there's plenty pieces of the pie, and and I have learned that working with others it usually works out much better than working against them.
Oh yeah.
When you collaborate, in fact, Kira has a term for it, and it's petition. And it's true. It's just, instead of competing against each other, maybe think about the opportunity of collaborating and being a stronger voice as one.
Yeah.
Because, when you have these two competing voices, that might actually be holding progression back.
Right.
Just like in Michigan, I mean, what's going on is we have 2 ballot initiatives now.
Oh.
And when you have that go on, it takes away focus from the other. And so what we always have to keep in mind is keeping our focus straight, and our focus is, progressing our industry.
Right. We had 2 of those too. We had 2 competing props. One of them backed out because they knew that if they were going to compete, none of them would pass. So the other one pulled out. And that took a lot of dampening down the egos.
Yeah.
And so the other one, Prop 64, was the one that was put up to the voters. It's a lot of egos as well. It's, I was here before you, or I'm more of an activist. What have you done? Mm-hmm. Kind of thing. It's we can't have that. And you also made a good point too. Is non-competing. I will help anyone that helps me, but if you will not help someone else if they're constantly trying to pull you down. They can put up, when someone really wants help and they've done this all the way through the community, it's just crickets. You have to bite your tongue and just say, yes, I'm going to help you, or just do it. Well, maybe not bite your tongue, but just be nice. It's not that hard to be nice. It's very easy. Go, girl. That's a really good job. What can I do to help you? Because when you need help, all those people will come.
Yeah, I agree. And guys, if you're listening to us right now on the broadcast, Ophelia Chong with StockPot Images. If you have questions for her, please feel free to post them in the comment section of this post. If you join us a little bit later in the broadcast and not while we're live, then put your questions in there. Maybe Ophelia will go in and answer some of your questions, or I will. Where do you think are the biggest opportunities for women in this industry? Like what parts of cannabis? I had read, this week there was an article by Marijuana Business Daily that said that actually 40% of all ancillary services are owned by women. And that's significant.
That's huge. And the reason why is because the threshold for entry is lower, because the legalities, if we have families, ancillary is going to be a lot better. The cost, right? And also, if you're touching a plant, you could lose your business, no matter how much money you put into it. So, and also women we're naturally supportive, and we're about putting things together for people and creating. Not that cultivating is not creating, but it is a lot of financial risk. And usually most women, we don't make as much as men, so we might not have that much of a seed to work from. Also, we have families. If you have children, you don't want to risk your home and your kids if you're touching a plant. So ancillary works for us a lot better. Plus, we're better marketers. We're better social media people. We're more in tune with what the market is, because naturally we are more observant, and also we listen better too. So I can see why ancillary I would go into ancillary because the cost is lower and the not getting dinged by the law is a lot better. I mean, it would be great to be in edibles, but right now it's going to be so expensive in California because the commercial kitchens, the packaging, the testing. Before the last since 96, you could just wrap a brownie in a Ziploc bag and sell it. Now you cannot do that. You actually have to put out a lot of money to be touching that plant constantly.
And do you feel like the small businesses are able to compete with that big money that's coming into this industry?
If you're talking about growers, then that's going to be hard. I think 5 years, a lot of them will be bought out. If you're going into marketing or branding, you'll need to have to bring on salespeople to get clients. You'll need to have sales reps, account managers. You're basically building an agency that just happens to touch cannabis. So that agency has to be whatever agency is for cars, for food, for cannabis, the same thing. You're going to have to expand and be a big person and to grow. If you're 2 people, then you're going to have to work really hard for that bigger piece of the pie, because only so many brands are going to be coming out. A lot of them are going by the wayside, and they're going to go to the bigger agencies because they have more staff. They can do packaging, logos, logo types, even the typography, web, print. And if you're one person, you can't cover all that. You can only scale up so much.
And with marketing, I feel like you have to find your niche. My niche, I know, is content production. I just nonstop ideas all the time, and video. But find your niche within that part and go with it, and really pick those things that you love.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I get up really happy every morning. I get up around 4 o'clock, 4:30, and get some coffee, and I start working because I really love what I'm doing. Sometimes it stresses me out, but then again, I'm really happy about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And the people I'm meeting.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Because I think that, I don't know if you got your Facebook notice. I said, you made so many friends this year. And I thought, whoa, that's more than I've ever done ever. And LinkedIn goes nuts too. It's like, who are these people? So
yeah, it really is. And I think that, I really enjoyed our conversation today.
yeah.
And thank you so much for joining us. Like you've been such a great piece in our group and the Women Entrepreneurs in Cannabis group. And we do these Founder Fridays every Friday, and we like to talk to successful women like Ophelia and learn their stories, because we've all been in that position where we were starting our business, and especially starting a business is hard, but starting a business in the cannabis industry, a highly regulated industry that is growing so fast, and there's really not enough resources right now to support the need that exists for information about cannabis. And so thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
To join us. And guys, if you have questions for Ophelia, please post them within this thread. And then anything else you would like to add? How do people get a hold of you?
Through Facebook or Ophelia at StockPotImages.com.
Okay.
And so I reply to everything. And so, yeah, happy late long weekend, end of summer, thank God, well, kind of. And so we will forge forward, and in about 5 years, we'll go back and say, whoa, remember when we had to run around and try and figure all this stuff out? Yeah. So it'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting to see what happens in 5 years.
Yeah, and I think it's safe to say is be adaptable.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. You get to be one of those little lizard things, a chameleon.
Yeah.
So you just got to blend in, figure it out, and move forward.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Julia. And have a great Labor Day weekend, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Bye. There we go.